My co-host is here. My co-host is here. Holali, take over and do the needful. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Stalina. My name is Holali, and welcome to the CS show. And I will be hosting the program with our wonderful Stalina. This is the CS show, a proud initiative by Prophetess Rhoda and Anna Isiede Marvel. We meet on this altar Mondays through to Fridays. The time is 4 a.m. Ghana time from Midnight Raw, Mondays and Thursdays, 4 p.m. Ghana time for Zainal, Fridays, 4 p.m. Ghana time for Bible studies. So kindly do the calculations to suit your location. Having said that, today we have in our midst guest speaker, Yeboah. He works for the international organization IOM, UN Migration Agency. He's a community outreach and reintegration assistant. So Mr. Yeboah, I kindly hand over to you to do your presentation if you're there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I joined very late, so I did not get the names. All right, but as you said, my name is Collins. Maybe you can do the short introduction, maybe your name, so that I will be able to address you accordingly. If you can please tell me your name. And
okay, so my name is Lena, and I'm doing this with
Holali.
All right, Lena, and thank you very much. Is there a way that I will be able to share my screen? Let me see. Host disabled.
You made co-host briefly, then you can do that.
Okay, all right, sure. Okay, so thank you very much. As you rightly said, my name is Collins Yeboah. Maybe just to do a short, sorry, I was away in Tamale. I just came back. So I'm trying to put things together, but it's going to be fruitful. So my name is Collins Yeboah, and as you rightly said, I work with the International Organization for Migration as a community outreach assistant. And thank you to all the participants. I think we have about 14 online now, and then there's also the Facebook online. So today, what I'm going to do, basically, I was made aware that I have to do a presentation on safe migration. So what I'm going to do basically is about just to lay the foundation and then educate ourselves a bit. I will talk briefly about migration, why migration is important, what are the fundamental human rights that allows us to move freely. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And then I talk about safe migration and then irregular migration as well. So just to start, I always ask about who a migrant is, because if you're able to know who a migrant is, you'll be able to really get to the whole thing about, okay, so sorry, what advanced. I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, so yeah, so it's fine. I can share my screen now. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So just as I said, let's talk about who a migrant is. Basically, we are all migrants. So for instance, if you move, anybody who is moving, but in Ghana here and then across the world, we have timeline because we have travelers, we have people moving daily, and then we have somebody to be classified as a migrant. According to Ghana's definition, you have to live outside your place of residence to another place for a minimum of 6 months. So once you stay there for over 6 months, then you're classified as a migrant. So a migrant is any person who is moving or has moved across an international border. So in this case, you become an international migrant or international migration. And then if it's within the country, then we have the internal migration. So the international migration is across the country, and then internal migration is within the country. Now, we have people that move out of the country. So if you're moving out of the country, you are the immigrant. It starts with the A. And then if you are receiving you, then you are the immigrant. And then we have the internal migration. And unfortunately, we talk a lot about international migration, but according to research, internal migration are more than the numbers involved in internal migration, and even the remittances are more than international migration. But the word that is that international migration is always accorded with irregular form. What I'm trying to say is that for the international migration, usually we have a lot of issues around how people move and then how they enter the country. So if you're not using the regular means, that is why we term it as irregular migration. And we have a lot of journalists and other people classifying it as illegal migration. They are not illegal because of humanitarian activities that we do, because we believe that the person involved is not an illegal entity, but then his or her attitudes, his or her behaviors are the irregular means that we can regularize. So we prefer more to use regular migration and irregular migration as against illegal migration. Now, so someone will ask about the human, we all have the right to movement, because according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 13, it says that everyone has a right of freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. And then everyone has a right to leave any country, including his own. So we have these fundamental human rights. And in the SDG 10.7 is clearly stated that migration is about facilitate orderly, safe, regular, and responsible migration, and then mobility. And then mobility of people, including through implementation of planned and well-managed migration policies. So what we are trying to say is that when migration is managed well, where we have the policies, we will be able to minimize migration, the impact of migration, the negative aspect of migration, and then maximize the positives that we get or the positives associated with migration. So this is what we should be considering. So what is a regular migration? The movement of person from his or her usual place of residence. So if I move from Ghana here using the required documents, I use the required document by abiding the rules and regulations of the country with valid and proper documentation, then I'm doing that in a regular means. That's where I get my visa. If I'm going to work, I get a working visa. I have all the documentation to show that I'm going to this particular place to work. In this case, I benefit from all the basic, the basic rights within the country, and then the opportunities within the country. I can access any of the services. I can do so many things. So in this case, I'm there as a regular migrant. But the fact that we have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights where we are allowed to move, the receiving countries too, they have policies and regulations that limit the number of people entering. Because if you are coming here, though you have the right to move, I also have my policies and regulations that will regulate the movement. So you have to abide by all these rules. If you are not doing that in the right way, then obviously you're using irregular migration. So what are some of the safe and regular migration? You're traveling and then you have the necessary documentation. You have the rights depending on the circumstance. Maybe if you're a student or a tourist or anybody, if you're going to work, you have the right documentation. You have a student.
So wonderful, people. It looks like Mr. Yeboah's network is acting up. I want to remind all of us that this is the SEER Show, a proud initiative by Providence Rhoda Anna, the visioneer of Manifestation of Holiness. We meet here Mondays through to Fridays For our midnight raw, the time is 4 a.m. Ghana time. We also meet here Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays for our Zion hour. The time is 4 p.m. Ghana time. So wherever you are, you want to do the calculation to suit your location. So today we are talking about migration. Most of us have traveled in and out within, and so we need to know what it is. And to do this with us is Mr. Yeboah. He is right here with us. I am doing this together with my co-host Holali. So Yeboah, kindly take over.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I decided to put the video up so that the network will be good. Sorry, the part of the world we are, sometimes you have issues with network.
That's fine. We've seen your face already, so.
All right, that's fine. So let's talk about benefits of migration. Let me state that at IOM, or the International Organization for Migration, which is the UN Migration Agency, we are not against migration. Migration is really good. I always use myself as a case study because I've traveled a lot. I studied outside and other things. So I've benefited from the positives associated with migration, because migration can bring our remittances, the financial part of it, where we have a lot of people depending on their relatives or friends living outside the country, sending them money so that they'll be able to pay for basic necessities and maybe for education, for buildings and other things. And we all know about financial remittances, where a lot of developmental projects are undertaken by people living outside the country. So we have this. And then we have social remittances, where we have the skills transfer, where someone, a Ghanaian, can study outside for some time and then decide to come back to Ghana just to support the socioeconomic development of the country. There are a lot of economic opportunities associated with migration. We have economic growth because we say that in Ghana, even the remittances that we get from outside, they are the third source of foreign, they are the third most source of foreign direct investment. They're even more than foreign direct investment. So remittances are really important, or migration is really important. We have, when migrants come, some of them, they come with a lot of innovative ideas. There's the cultural diversity. There's a whole lot of opportunities that we get from migration. However, just as I said, when it is not done in a safe and regular migration, a safe and regular means, then it becomes irregular migration. The irregular migration is from the perspective where you enter or stay or work in a country without the necessary authorization or documents that is required under their immigration regulations. So if you are there, and there are a lot of examples that I can give you. For instance, if you enter a country without proper documentation or visa, you are there as an irregular migrant. Those who overstay the permitted length of time stipulated or on their visa documents. So you are there, you have been, you're going to the UK, you've been given 6 months, and you decided to overstay the 6 months. Then you are in UK as an irregular migrant. And then those who are working without a work permit or work visa, you are also doing so in an irregular means. And if you violate any other conditions of your stay, then you are in the country as an irregular migrant. So let's get this. You may go there as a regular migrant, but end up as an irregular migrant for overstaying your the visa, the length of time stipulated on your visa. If you are there like this, then you are an irregular migrant. What are the dangers? We're talking about kidnapping. For instance, our beautiful young ladies who go to Dubai and other areas for work, once they get there, they kidnap them and then they ask them for ransom before they are released. And we also know that some people too take some loans before they travel. So there's debt bondage that their parents will have to pay. And then if you are there, there's the deportation, there's death, and a lot. So let me concentrate on some of the issues that we are facing, apart from the migration to Gulf states, where we have a lot of our young ladies going there to work as domestic workers. we are also having a lot of issues with irregular migration across the Saharan desert. So I'm going to focus on the Saharan desert, where we have the migration, where we have a lot of statistics on it, and then the migration starting in Ghana. So
Mr. Yeboah, before you go on to give us insights on that, I want to inform our cherished audience that if you have any questions and concerns, if you have anything bothering your mind, you can just use the emoji, you raise your hand, or you type in the chat section if you don't want to unmute, so that the discussion will be very interactive. Having said that, I have a question. So we are now talking about regular and irregular migration.
Yeah.
Now, we most often than not hear that, you know, when you go out there, you know, and you are illegal, you are illegally, you know, lodging or staying somewhere. The implications are a lot. Don't we think that there are also benefits that comes out with that, especially, you know, wherever you are migrating to? I may choose to work over there. You know, it could be black, or, you know, it could be illegal working, but some way, somehow, some indirect tax will be paid. Is it not an advantage to, you know, the country or the town or city where I migrated to?
Okay, so yes, you are right. For the receiving countries and even the sending countries, in this case, Ghana as the sending country, and then the receiving country. Let's take, for instance, you're going to the UK. Yes, there are a lot of benefits to the receiving country and the originating country, because once you are there, you'll be able to send money back home, and then whilst you are there, you can also work and support the development of the country. But we are talking about the person involved. The person involved is not able to access a lot of things because of his or her status there. That's what we are talking about now. So we are more concerned about who the person involved, the humanity aspect of it. For instance, a story was told about this young Ghanaian who was in the UK. At some point, he was riding a bicycle and was hit by a moving vehicle. And then people wanted to support him. You know, in the developed countries, when something of that sort happened, it's not like Ghana that you organize a taxi or something and then you take them. No, they will call an ambulance to come for you. And unfortunately, this guy, they called an ambulance. They were waiting for the ambulance to come and take him, but he had to run. He had to just stand up and then start running. Why? Because he didn't have the required documents.
So was he running for his life or running?
Yes. Just apart from the life, he's also running because of his status in the country. Because once he's caught, yes, they will take care of you. They can do everything for you, but there's the high possibility that they will repatriate you. They will take you back to your home country.
So having said that, they can take care of you and all that. What kind of protection can be given to these people, both by their motherland and the land to which, you know, he or she might have migrated to? Does this person, or do we hold any right to protection or any form of assistance in any way, even though you might be living there illegally?
Yeah, so we have a lot of protection for migrants, whether living there as an irregular or regular migrant. But then, so for instance, IOM, we support people. If you want to come there voluntarily, we will support you to come home. And then if you come home, even we protect you in terms of your identity, everything, a lot of things. We give you a lot of protection, right from wherever that you want us to take you from, and then to your final destination. But even the country where you live, I mean, the receiving country, if you're in the UK, the receiving country, they also have policies that protect you. But ultimately, they will want to send you home because you are there as an irregular migrant. So despite all this protection, let's take, for instance, those who go there and then they seek for asylum. When you are seeking for asylum, there's a lot of protection for you. They will provide you with all these documentations and everything. But you have to convince them why you want to stay there and even why you want to seek for that particular asylum. So the protections and everything, the policies, protections, you can benefit from it. But once you are there as an irregular migrant, I mean, there's limits to it. You wouldn't receive much protection as to compared to someone who is there as a regular or legal migrant.
Right. So while in your submission, I heard you talk about asylum seeking or asylum seekers or whoever is seeking us. What is that supposed to mean? Somebody might not understand. Can you elaborate on that so that we know what exactly you're talking about?
Okay, so let me clarify this, that there's a difference between who a migrant is and a refugee. The refugee, they are pressurized to move because of maybe because of political instability and other things in a country. So they move out of their country, forced to move out of their country. So it is they do it against their will. It is not their intention to move, but then circumstances are not allowing them to stay there. So in this case, when you get there, you want a status that will allow you to live in a receiving country. The process through which you get that this status is the asylum seeking. So once you are granted, then you become a refugee. I hope it's clear. Huh?
Very well. I want to ask another question. Then maybe my co-host would come in if she has any or any of the audience. But I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Edward Nyamike Aka or Akanyamike. Doc, you're so much welcome. But previously we had Dr. Randolph also on. And I also want to extend our warm gratitude to every single person on the show. Without you, the show would not come on. So whilst talking about Dr. Randolph, he just got in again. Asylum seeking. Now, let's take for instance, my forefathers, my ancestors, you know, they died and left me huge sums or whatever properties they left me, some way, somehow. My people are after me, my family or members of the community are looking for me. And so I managed to escape and, you know, get to another land. What are the processes that I am supposed to go through to be a legal person? And would you acknowledge me, or would you say that I am an asylum seeker?
Thank you very much. But let me chip in that I think if you are going to talk about asylum seeking and the refugee status, then UNHCR is the best institution to talk about this, because they deal more with asylum seeking. For us, they deal more with refugees.
Okay.
Because for us, we are more about migration. So I can talk about migration, but then for refugees and other things, I may not be able to tell you the processes to go through.
Okay, very well. Then I wouldn't want you to complicate or issues, or I wouldn't want to push you to the corner. So let's roll over. I don't know if Holali has any questions to pose to you. Are there any concerns?
Yeah, I do have a question. So my question is, let's say that you have, let's say somebody lives in migration to a different country, and they'll be staying there for a while, they'll be able to gain the opportunity to live in that country as a resident. Let's say the person is in UK, and so and they want to bring somebody else's in, let's say a parent or something like that. So how long does the process go? Like, how is the...
Sorry, this is more with the embassies than with IOM. For IOM, yes, for IOM, what we do is that we are more interested in the humanitarian aspect of it. We're talking about the protection and other things, and the embassies and other things will be able to tell you the exact processes to go through with this.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Let me pose this question, and I just hope that it's within your jurisdiction to take care of it. So I have migrated. Now, upon one or two things, considering one or two things, I realized that I want to go back home, but I don't have the means to go back home. What are some of the processes I have to go through to make sure I get in touch with my motherland so they incur the cost? Because most often than not, the motherland wouldn't want to incur certain costs. I mean, and so it becomes a tug of war between where I am living now and my motherland. So what are some of the things that we need to do to make sure that we don't put too much burden on both countries, and then we are also not disadvantaged in any way?
Okay, so let me speak for IOM, because if you're a stranded migrant and you want to come, we have a program called Reintegration Support, Voluntary Returns and Reintegration Assistance. So assuming you are in a country that you don't want to stay there again, and you want to come home, what you need to do is to first inform the Ghanaian consulate or whoever, if it's a Ghanaian embassy or whatever, there. You inform them of your desire to come home, and then you want IOM to support you in this direction. When you come, we have the processes that you go through is that we will have to cancel you for you to be sure of the benefits that you can get and the support that we can offer you. So the offer could be economic reintegration, where we give you some kind of micro business assistance. It could be social. The social could be accommodation. It could be medical care, whatever. And then it could be psychosocial, because some of them too come with a lot of psychosocial, in need of psychosocial assistance. So it could be all this. So, but because I stated that it's voluntary, because of because it's voluntary, at any stage of the reintegration process or the voluntary return process, you are at liberty to say, I don't want to come again. We don't force you. So just tell me you want to come home, and then we will support you to come home. That's what IOM can do. So we work with the country, with the government of Ghana, and then any support that you need to support your coming home, we provide from that direction. I hope this is clear.
Very well said. So please continue with the, okay, there's a question in the chat section. Let me quickly read it out, then maybe you take it from there. What happens to those who want to come home but are living in Qatar with their phones seized and no means of contact? So these people are in critical situations, so to speak. They can't contact anybody. What are they supposed to do?
Well, if you are there, then you can't contact us. It's going to be extremely difficult to know where you are. We have a lot of distress calls from these Gulf states, where, just as you are saying, we have a lot of Ghanaians in this difficult situation that they are unable to even make phone calls. But the only thing that we can do, or when they get through us, is to get to the Ghanaian embassy, be able to get to the Ghanaian embassy, so that we start the processing to support your returns. So the most important thing is to be able to identify where you are, and then we being able to get in touch with you. When we are able to get in touch with you, if you are able to get in touch with the Ghanaian consulate, you talk to the Ghanaian consulate, we will be able to support you for you to return home safe.
Very well said. So we would want you to continue with where you stopped from. Then if there are any more questions or any more concerns, we'll put them across. Thank you very much.
All right. So I was going to talk about migration routes in Ghana. So just as the picture shows, we have a lot of Ghanaians moving across the desert to Libya. And our statistics indicate that majority of these people are from the Bono Bono East region all the Ahafo regions, and then some of them too from Ashanti. Gradually, we are getting a lot of returns too from the northern part of the country. And this is how they do it. In Nkranza and in Techiman, in Bono East, they have the Libya station where people go there. They have, sometimes it starts informally. Somebody can, oh, I'm going to Libya, and then, okay, so I can join. So they all come together in Techiman or Nkranza and then start off the journey through to Boko. Some of them, they pass through Wa, some pass through Bogatanga, so either Upper East or Upper West, through to Burkina Faso. But in the West Africa, their final destination or the transit point is Niger. When they get to Niger, they go to the capital town, which is Agadez. Agadez is where other African countries too, especially the West African countries, they merge, they all converge there to start the proper journey to Libya. So in Agadez, we have people coming from Nigeria, people coming from Mali, people coming from Cote d'Ivoire, and they all converge here at Agadez. In the Agadez, that's where we have a lot of smugglers. These smugglers are mostly, even we have Ghanaians who are smugglers. So according to some of the Ghanaians, where they get their own Ghanaians are settled there in Agadez, that will do the pushing. The word pushing means they will support their support. They will start with the journey. So in Agadez, we have so in Agadez, we have a lot of Ghanaians there. When you get there, this is how the typical Agadez is like. We have a lot of stranded Ghanaians there, who are all supporting in need of support too. And then other African countries, West African countries and other nationals who are all asking for support to be able to travel to Libya. So this is a clear picture of what happens in Agadez. And then we have the smugglers, somebody like this guy with a black sheath. They cover the whole body, and you see some people, they tell them about what they are going to go through. And you see they are well deceived. You could see some of them are carrying even some yellow Kofor gallons. So the food that they eat is in Ghana must go, and then the water that they drink is in that Kofor yellow gallon. And from what we hear, this gallon, if you're going to spend about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month on the desert, you are going to drink from this gallon. So some of them, in order not to finish the water within time, what they usually do is they put fuel in it so that you don't drink all. You just sip and then you leave it like that. And they have 2 cars. You can see from this that this is the first car that they use. It's Toyota Hilux. So for the Toyota Hilux, they have sticks that is mounted at the buckets. So those who are sitting at the bucket, they will use the sticks to prevent them from falling off the bucket. And the number of people that are packed in the buckets is usually 30 to 43 people, sometimes about 44 people. And in the same bucket, you have your water that you're going to drink. They have fuel in the same car. You have everything to make the journey success, because this is a desert, typical desert, they don't have fuel on it. So the number of months, if they are going to spend weeks, if they are going to spend months, then they have to go with their fuel. So all these people, so they are packed like sardines. So you see people at the edges. There are people too in the middle. So it's about 30 to 44 people in this particular bucket that will go to Libya. They have another vehicle called the Combine. This Combine is typical. This type of Combine is like, if you don't have enough money to pay for the Toyota Hilux, then this is the car that you're going to use. And this one, usually it transports cigarettes from Niger to Libya and Algeria. And then they take money from you and you will sit on top of this. You're exposed to the heat. you're exposed to sand, you're exposed to so many things. Yeah, so because of how the cars are, they always have a lot of breakdowns, and then the breakdowns, we have the UN and other agencies that are often patrolling the desert to ensure that we are able to locate people, because we have a lot of people who are stranded, who are dying, who are in need of water and other things. Because when there's breakdown, you have to support them so that they don't die. And you see, some of them will tell you that on the desert, you see a lot of skeletons, you see a lot of dead bodies, because people are always dying on the desert. So you see a lot of skeletons and other things. So these are some of the stranded things. I mean, you are exposed to the sun. Just look at how the desert is. You're exposed to the sun. Some of them, they will die. Some, they get lost, especially when your vehicle spoils or develop faults. They leave you there, and then they will tell you that, hey, they are going back to Niger to fix it, and then they will come. And because they don't have proper roads, some of them, they die there. Now, working in Libya, once you get to Libya, the only work that they do is what is known as Malaga. That's the plastering job. So you ask them, a lot of them will tell you, about 90% of them will tell you that they do Malaga, they do plastering job, car wash, and then some of them too are into farming. Let's listen to Frank. Frank came back from Libya. We supported him to come back from Libya. So I don't know whether my audio will be visible enough. Can you hear? Sorry. Can you hear the sound?
No, we can't hear the sound. Maybe you have to increase the volume. A bit louder and we can hear. I mean, I can hear the hitches here and there, but it's not that audible. So if you can increase it more, then.
Is it okay?
No, we need more volume.
Well, that's unfortunately, that's the maximum I can go.
Okay, so that we are trying to read what's written there. I mean, if only it tallies with exactly what he's saying, maybe we can try to make meaning from what is being written there. So we can still go ahead and play.
Okay.
Right. Or probably as it rolls, you can also be telling us what is going on. Then we'll be privy to the information. So wonderful people, whilst we are watching what's on our screen, what's rolling on our screen, I want to remind all of us that this is the CS Show, a proud initiative by Prophetess Rhoda Anna Asiedu Mafo. She is the visionary of Manifestation of Holiness. We meet here Mondays through to Thursdays, through to Fridays for our midnight roar. The time is 4 a.m. Ghana time. And we also meet here Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays for our Zion Hour and Time with the Word of God, respectively. So wherever you are, you want to do the calculation to suit your location. And then when you have time, you join us. Today we are treating migration. I am sure most of us might have moved from one place to the other in search of greener pastures or for whatever reason that it may be. And so if you have any concerns, if you have any questions whatsoever, please do not take it back home with you. Let's put them across. Some irregular or illegal forms of migration, are posing a lot of threats to our very lives. And so we need to work on these. Somebody out there may not be privy to whatever information we are getting. So you would want to invite people to join us, and you'd also want to spread the news abroad that this is what is going on. And yama we na AD say you move from one place to the other. most of the people who go to Libya, who go to Qatar, and some of the names that you can make mention of, they don't have the in-depth information. They are not aware. The only one say, baby, we are taking you out there, you will make it out there. They get there, and the kinds of troubles they go through, only God knows. I happened to chance on a video on Facebook, and the lady was, telling her ordeal, what she had to go through. It took the intervention of God, for her to escape. And so we need to know the nitty-gritties of what, migration is, and when it is necessary for us to move, when we are not supposed to move, and all that. Having said that, I want to hand over to our guest, the seer. Mr. Yeboah, let's continue.
So basically, this video is about Frank. Frank went to Libya and then was supported to come home. In Libya, Frank was working at with a quarry company, and a time came that while he was working, he said he slipped. The leg, unfortunately, was crushed. So Frank basically was saying that he went there with an intention to, work and then bring money, but unfortunately, he even came back with one leg. Let's just say, let's follow what he says. Then you get an understanding, because he was talking about on the desert where the car that they were using developed faults, and then the water that they were using got finished, and then they had to, about 14 people died. His wife too. His wife was mistreated or maltreated when they were in prison because he wanted to cross the Mediterranean Sea. So let's listen to Frank. Let's watch the video.
Mr. Yeboah, before we go to Frank to listen to him, you made mention of something, how their water got finished and all that. And there are two questions here I want to pose. Are they aware this is what they have to go through, or their connection men do not tell them the truth? And the second question is, a friend's brother said they sell their urine on the desert. Is it true? I didn't believe it. And so if their water gets finished, what is left for them to drink? And even the urine, that's if it is true, if there is any iota of truth in what we are hearing, they are selling it. What do you make of this? What do you have to say? I'm sure people have shared their experience just like Frank, and so you are privy to a lot of information.
Yes. Interestingly, from the type of the part of the country that we have a lot of irregular migrations going on. So I have a lot. It's interesting to even know that my nephews are still there. Yes. Wow. So on the hot desert, I told you that they have this Kufor yellow gallon, the smaller one, like they did for the 5 year. That's what they use. So within a short period, you can see that the water gets finished. And then when the water gets finished, my understanding and from what the testimonies that a lot of guys have shared is that they even sell their own urine. People buy from them to drink. So it's true. The other thing is that on the desert, the water table is always low. So they have some oases, like some small wells on the desert, where some of them will go to drink. So they drink water from it. If you are lucky enough to get water, fine. Because some of them, they die because of just 20 pesos or 30 pesos pure water. They don't get water to drink, so they die. Yeah, so it gets low. The water gets finished, and when it gets finished, they have to struggle to get water to drink. Some of them die out of starvation and other things. And it doesn't end there. Once you get to Libya, before you enter Libya, you are kidnapped, no matter the amount of money that you pay to get to Libya. Before you enter Libya, you are kidnapped. The driver that will lead you from Niger to Libya, once there's this Sabrata. So once you get to Sabrata, you'll be kidnapped. And then they will ask for ransom before you are released. So if you don't pay, they're not going to release you, or they will beat you to death. So all these things are true. Sometimes we try not to, because of the human nature of it, we try to be careful about some of these abuses and the atrocities they go through when we are doing the presentation. But just to let you know that, yes, it's true. It's true that people sell their urine to drink, to buy, so that they can survive on the hot desert. Thank you.
So these, I mean, is it not poison enough to kill these people? Let me ask, maybe you are also privy to this information. How long does it take, depending on, I know it would depend on their final destination, but how long does the journey take?
The journey, as I said, it depends on whether, it depends on the, now they tell me that if you're not going to face the rebels, there are a lot of rebels on the dead, so they have a lot of gates, a lot of barriers that you have to cross before you get to Libya. So some of the experienced drivers, they know them, so they pay their way through. So it depends on the on these drivers, and it depends on who is able to, lead you there. If you are fortunate, it takes you 2 weeks. That's the minimum that it can take. But if you are not fortunate, then it's going to be like the 1 month. Some of them, someone told me that they even spent 2 months. And even almost all the people that they traveled with, about half of them died. Leaving about 14, about half of them died because of water. So fortunately for them, another car came, and then they were able to offer them water to drink. So it all depends on the driver, because this is not a straight route. It's a desert, and there are no roads on it. They decide, they use, some were saying that they do some incantations, and then when they start, they will go in circles, like the drivers. They will just circle, they will arrange the car in circles. Some will pass east, north, and blah, blah, blah. They will go any direction that they want, but then the final destination will be one. You get it? So, yeah. So these are some of the things that they go through.
Mr. Yeboah, let's go ahead with Frank.
Yeah, so just as I said, so Frank came back with one leg. Maybe you can just watch the video and then read the subtitles.
That day, my friend, that day was Sunday. That day, I never eat at all. That boy is good boy.
Okay, so wonderful people, whilst we are watching the screen, if you have any questions, if there is anything you want to know, okay, so then I get something from Nancy, I would want to read it out. There are horrible videos on the net on how these people are packed into saloon cars. Is it real or made up stories? So, Mr. Yeboah, I'm sure because the audio is not working, we can still be watching, and then we'll be taking these questions and you answer them along the way.
Yeah. So, well, if you have any question you can ask, but let me continue with this too, because
okay. So Nancy has a question here. Nancy says there are horrible videos on the net on how these people are packed into saloon cars. Is it real or made up stories?
Okay, so the journey from Agadez to Libya is basically through either the use of Toyota Hilux, the pickups, based on the pictures that I show, or the combine. That's the truck, the truck that loads cigarettes.
Right.
I'm not aware of people going to Libya with saloon cars. Yes.
Okay. Right. So Nancy, that's the answer that Mr. Yeboah has for us. Mr. Yeboah, so then you can still continue with other submissions whilst we watch the screen if there are any more to be known.
Yeah. So when they get to Libya too,
the whole situation has lowered my mood. I mean, but let's go
so
on.
when they get to Libya too, some of them will want to try and then cross the Mediterranean to get to Italy, where we have a lot of cases too. So to get to Libya, these are high seas. To get to Italy and then Spain and other European countries, these are high seas. And we have smugglers that will take huge sums of money from them. And then we'll promise them that it takes about 3 to 4 hours to get to Libya, to get to Italy from Libya. So they have this rubber dinghy. You can see from your screens, we have the rubber dinghy. This rubber dinghy is like a balloon. You could see that because it's a balloon, it's inflated. When it gets in contact with the seawater, it starts deflating. Now, when it starts deflating, so usually it's supposed to take about 50, 60 people. But then the smugglers or the connection men will take about 140, 42 people on this. I will show you one video. I just wish, unfortunately, we are unable to listen to the audio. I don't know how I'll be able to connect it. But so they will take about 142. A classical example was one guy that we interviewed, we supported to come home. He's called Emmanuel Kwam. Emmanuel Kwam said when they got to Libya and they were crossing the Mediterranean Sea, there were 142 people on this particular rubber dinghy tied. And then the smugglers won't go with you. But then after taking money and everything, they will ask you, the migrants, the passengers, that who is from the coastal side of the country. So whoever says that he's from the coastal side or the coastal part of the country or wherever they come from, for instance, if it's a Ghanaian and it comes from Cape Coast, Takrady, they say, okay, you will be the captain. So you will be regulating it's an outboard. So you will be regulating the outboard and everything. And then they will take another one to also, they will take the person through GPS. So the GPS guy will be directing them. The idea is that he directs and then the captain will just, start the machine and will be following the GPS. Now, on this, because they want you to get support from whoever meets you on the sea, they have to include kids, children, infants. They have to include women. So we have women, we have children, and then we have men on this. So that for the women and the children, whoever meets you on the sea will have mercy on you. to support you, who understand you, and then support you. And then for the men, I mean, if it's only men, guys, some of them wouldn't even mind you.
You are left to your fate.
Yes. So he says when they set off, and then you are told that the one who is operating the GPS, you are told that anytime you see an oncoming vessel, it means they are there to support you. So whoever operates the GPS will have to throw the GPS away. With the intention that the whole idea is that whoever is coming to support you wouldn't have any justifiable cause to say that you know where you are going. So you only tell them that you are lost. So he said they set off, there were 142 people on the rubber dinghy, and then they set off. And usually they set off at dawn. So around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., they set off. At that time, people like us from Bono and Bono East region who wants to join, see, when you see the sea at dawn, you will not be able to see how huge the whole thing is. So they will set off at dawn to go to Libya. So to go to
Italy.
Yeah. So he says when they set off, they said it's only 6 hours. So they set off around 3 a.m. By 6 a.m. they thought that they were getting closer, and unfortunately they saw that some people they saw a coming vessel. So the guy who was using the GPS decided to throw it away because they've seen a vessel. Unfortunately, this vessel was a man and his son who was on the sea trying to, I mean, they were doing some fishing. So when they got there, they just waved at them and they left. Then they left them their fate. They left them with their fate. I mean, and then on the sea, after about 6-7 hours, because the rubber dinghy is in contact with the seawater, it started deflating. And some of them were tired. So he says some of them said, oh, we are tired. And then and there's no end in sight, there's no support from anywhere, they will just fall off and then die. They will just get drowned in the sea. So when that the long and short story is that about the 142 people, 140 got drowned. They all died. It was only 2, himself, Emmanuel Kwam, and then the one who was operating the whole rubber dinghy. Only 2 of them survived. This is not the only story that I have. There's another one too. It's on the internet. There's another one, Godfrey. Godfrey said there were 132 or so. And then the 132, only 44 of them survived. So it tells you about the intensity and then the dangerousness. I mean, the nature of this kind of irregular migration that people take. I'll give you some statistics. Unfortunately, when they get to the destination countries, this is the type of job that they do. Sometimes when you're I remember we were in Europe and someone was like, at that time I was not even working at the Center for Migration. I was not working at the IOM, but then with Center for Migration Studies, I went for a short meeting in Germany, and I met someone from my hometown, and then he said, oh, what are you coming to do? I said, oh, I'm here for 12 days for a workshop. I said, not 12 days, but what's uncle? I said, yeah. It's for 12 days because I actually studied there in Germany. Meaning they are trapped. They can't come.
Right.
Because they don't have papers and they are unable to, send money home. So even some people perceive that they are dead. They are not. They don't have anything. So these are the type of jobs that people, a lot of them, if you don't have the documentation, I mean, nobody will support you. And some of them too, they will collect someone else's document to work. So when it's time for them to pay, they pay into whoever gave you the document account. So he will decide how much to give to you. Right. He will take his charges and other things, take taxes from it. And so some of them are stranded, they don't do. So let me give you statistics. I'm talking about the number of deaths. We have this missing migrants work page that we use to collect the number of fatalities that we see. Not all of them. We can't see everything, but then those that we are able to report. Now, when we started this project, the Missing Migrant Project by IOM, in 2014, we were able to count about 5,284 people dying worldwide. Out of this, 3,283 people died in the Mediterranean Sea, both the Western and South Central Mediterranean Sea. And in Africa, across the sea, across the desert, we had about 623 people. Now, in 2015, it shot up. And then 2016 was the deadliest year. We had over 5,143 people dying in the Mediterranean Sea. And out of this, we had about 1,832 dying in Africa along the Saharan Desert or on the Sahara Desert. As we speak, sorry, the 2022 statistics, I need to update it. This was in February, somewhere February. But even in February, we had about 371 deaths. Interestingly, in 2020, when we had restriction of movement across the world because of COVID, we still had about 3,885 people dying. And out of this, we had about 1,421. Let me tell you, so these figures are just the numbers that we know. We are able to account. So there's the high possibility that this could double or triple because some of them, they die unnoticed. So this is the reality of the whole thing. If you look at this, the remains we have, there remains about 20,000 of them lost their lives during migration, have not been recovered. So out of the people who have died in the Mediterranean Sea, about 20,000 plus have not been recovered. And then the deadly route is where we have the Libya, Italy type, the Central Mediterranean, where at least 18,951 people, where we have a lot of Ghanaians too, using their route. They have died since 2014. Some of them is by drowning. Some of them is mixed or known. Some of them, the death is caused by vehicle accidents. Some of them lack of shelter, water, food. We have violence, we have sickness, we have accidental death. These are all causing the deaths of people that we are. This is Godfred Kessie. Godfred, okay, so I will try and share some videos with AC Lauren so that she can share with you.
Right, we'll be grateful.
Yeah. So this is Godfred. He's one of the returnees that we supported. He's the one that I was saying that he traveled to Libya and then was trying to cross the Mediterranean. It's the second story. There were about 134, 32 people. And then only 44 of them survived. Unfortunately, because of the audio and it's quite long, we won't be able to watch this.
Right.
And then So
Mr. Yeboah, there is a question here. I think there are about 2 questions here, and I would want to. What is the police doing to those who lie to these people? So these people who are acting as middlemen, kidnapping these people to wherever they want to go. And the other question is, when these migrants return safely, do their families welcome them? So do you have any reports of such that, okay, so we came back and the family wouldn't want to have anything to do with us because maybe we are not able to provide, or whatever story it is. Do you have any such?
All right, so thank you very much. For the first one about the police, You see, because this journey is done in, let's say, it's some kind of invisible. People don't tell you. They tell you that we are traveling. We are going to Libya. So there's no connection money involved. Usually, it's when they get to Agadez in Niger, where they start with this connection man thing. And then when they get to Libya too and they want to cross. So this is outside the jurisdiction of the Ghana police. And even those who go to Qatar and then other areas to work, female domestic workers, some of them, I sat in a plane with one who was going to Saudi Arabia, and when we got to, I was going to South Africa and she was going to Saudi Arabia, so we used Ethiopian Airlines. So I was asking him, so what are you going to do? So, for me, you see, I'm a Muslim. I'm going to work for 4 months, and then after 4 months, I'll start studies. I'll go to school. So, is it true? Yeah. Even the connection man spoke with my mom. No, whoever, she didn't say connection. Even the boss spoke with my mom and my father, and then they've all agreed. So you see, because it's done in illegal way, it is always difficult to report these cases to the police. And it's even the trafficking units of the Ghana Immigration Service and Ghana Police that work with people who have been trafficked or these domestic workers who have been exploited. But just as I said, if these people are not able to report to you when the processes start, it is always difficult to get to whoever is leading them. Because this, the migration industry has become some kind of, it's a kind of network that is really, really difficult to break because of the perception people have about whoever migrates. They feel that, some of them feel that once you migrate, you get your economic freedom. So they do it in a very subtle way. They don't want anybody to hear. So it becomes increasingly difficult for people to know that this or that person was involved in ABCD. Now, you're asking about families. Yes, for IOM, when we are bringing people to Ghana, some of the vulnerable cases that we have, let me, excuse my word, but some of them, they come with amputated legs, amputated hands, severe medical conditions, and that are classified as vulnerable. When it happens like that, we have to contact the family members here so that they will meet us at the airport to receive the family members. There's always the mixed thing here. Some would receive them happy. Some of them, even when they see them, they start crying because some of them, they are so disfigured that it's difficult to recognize them. Some of them too, maybe because of the debt. I mean, because migration has become some kind of a household decision where some people put their resources together to send one of their family members to go outside to work. So if you come empty-handed, considered as failed migrants, it is always difficult to go back into the community that you left. So in this case, some of them even will want to stay in Accra. Some wouldn't even want to go back to their hometowns because of how they perceive the family members to receive them. But we don't have any records on a family member rejecting their family. No, we don't have that, because as part of our reintegration assistance, we also do psychosocial assistance. So if we see that this particular family has a vulnerable case, then we have to psych them so that they will accept them as part of them. Because we have cases of a lot of them coming with this no hands, no legs, and other things. So there's always a mix. I mean, what we see is that the family members are receiving them, but then the returnees will tell you that even today I haven't eaten. You see, my brother don't want to even have face-to-face interaction with me because he went for a loan from here, blah, 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 blah. So yes, there are some people who do not welcome them. And then there are some families too that will welcome them to their homes.
It's a sad situation. I mean, okay, so I see Lauren's hand up. Please unmute yourself and put your submission across.
Okay, thank you, Siwai. Good evening. I remember some time back when we went to welcome these returnees from the airport, and I had the opportunity to talk to them as part of the cycle team. And I was surprised when the person told me that this is about the 4th time he's coming back to Ghana. So when he comes to check the system and it's still not working for him, he'll go back through the same process. So I don't know if you can throw more light on that for us. Why some people still think that they'll go through the same process, going through the desert back and forth for about 3 or 4 times, because they feel the economy in Ghana is still not strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isi. I think, I can give you a couple of answers to this, because one is about the economy. Yes, some of them, we will ask them, they're economic migrants. So obviously they will tell you, when you come, we ask you why you migrated. And about 90 to 95% of them will tell you that we went there for jobs. I mean, it's lack of job opportunities in the country, lack of economic opportunities in the country. I was looking for money, I was doing this, I was unemployed, and blah, blah, blah. And mind you, some of them are successful. Some of them have been able to put up a building. So it serves as motivation to some of them. Some of them, when they come back, maybe some circumstances led them to come back, not through the support of IOM, but because one, especially during the time of Gaddafi, things were cool, though it was difficult to go through the process. But once you get there, you will be able to do this Malaga, that's the plastering work, and then get something to send home or something to start life with. So the dangers were there, but those who were able to go through and are hardworking enough, they were able to do something on their own. So, and interestingly, when you talk to them, during that time, the period of the time of Gaddafi, they were enjoying free lights, some of them were giving food free. Things were so cheap. Accommodation, like they were, if you look at the situation here, and then for being exposed to all these opportunities, some of them, they come, and when they feel that, and when they come back to Ghana and see the difficulties that people are going through, they feel like, no. Let me go again and enjoy what I was enjoying. You get it? And some of them too, they come, they look at the situation well, and they say, no, maybe I went with Akwesi Mensah, and then Akwesi Mensah said he's been able to go to Europe through the sea. So let me come and even do passports here, gather and go back. Some of them too, maybe while they send some money back home for family members to use it to maybe build for them or to do something meaningful for them. Unfortunately, when they came or when they come back, they don't see those things. So they get frustrated and want to go back. So a lot of factors are involved. Some will tell you that, brother, I was married. I left for some time, and then when I came back, my wife is pregnant for another person because I was away. So there are lots of frustrations, and so it could be frustrations, it could be lack of opportunities here, and someone is saying enjoying the day. Okay, so lack of opportunities here, some of the exposure, some of the things that they've been exposed to, some of the factors that will, prompt them. Then, these are some of the propensities. They consider all these things as the propensity to migrate. They weigh the two options and they feel that they have to go. And then they decide to go.
Wow, we have done almost 28 minutes extra, but wonderful people, if you have any concerns, if you have any questions whatsoever, we still would want to give ample time for that. Otherwise, Mr. Yeboah, you want to give us your final words. What would you want to advise, especially the youth out there who think that everything is rosy, going across the other side, crossing to the other side? What advice would you give to them? What are your final words? You have come into contact with some of these people. They have shared their ordeal, and you know what the problems are, what's the risk involved it could be. Let us know what your take is on that.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I always say that, and then just to echo what we stand for, migration is good. It's really, really good to migrate. I mean, if you consider the benefits associated with migration, you could say that it's really important because it's even fetching us with a lot of money here in Ghana. Even those that we are able to record, those that are sent informally are not recorded, but in the formal transactions that are made, you could see that Ghana as a country is benefiting from migration, and individuals too, they are really benefiting from migration. If something happens today, the first person to look up to in a family is usually the influential guy. Who is the influential guy? It's always the burger that people will look up to. So it's important. But then let's be very careful about making some decision without necessarily asking ourselves a lot of questions. Someone says he wants to take you to Dubai, and then you are happy to go. You just sit down and ask yourself, why is the person's family member is still here? If it's really juicy, if it's juicy, the first person to go will be the family members. He will take the family members there before he considers you. So let's be mindful about certain things. If you are advised that, you don't need any documentation, but once you get there, you'll be able to work. No, you have to be careful because you can only work with work permits. You can only work with legal documents. Not just that when you go there or you get there, things will change and then you'll be able to adapt. No. And then let's be careful that, when you get there, you sign the formal documents, or it is not necessary to know the language of the country of the destination or anything. Let's be careful about these juicy promises that people give us. Lastly, we are not poor. Things are difficult. Migrants are not poor because the type of migration, if you listen to the money, the amount of money involved, people pay to connection men, people pay to this type of industry, they created some niche for themselves. Someone will pay about 50,000 to get a US visa. If you are poor, and it's indeed because of poverty that you want to travel, then the 50,000, if you have 50,000 in your account,
it can actually set you up.
Yes, you are not considered as a poor person in Ghana. So we usually say that migration is not for the poor, poorest of the poor, because the poorest of the poor can't even afford $1 meal a day. If you're very poor, you won't travel. So those who travel, you invest your money into something that's greener pastures that do not exist. We have to be careful. And lastly, let's be ambassadors of this irregular migration campaign, because a lot of our family members, a lot of our wives, and a lot of our husbands are all involved. So if it's not us, it could be a friend's friend, it could be your future husband, it could be anyone else. So let's propagate the Safe Migration campaign. And point four can say, me say, I don't know, can say trauma, I don't know, it's only trauma. In the olden, the tripods, wooden tripods, the stones that the tripod that they used to cook on stones,
Yes, they call it muka. Some people call it muka, muchia, muka.
Muchia, good. So the muchia, you see, they were using this red earth to paint it. So it is called chuma. So they say that the chuma, like wherever that you paint, it will show, it will come up, it will lighten the place. So let's have that mentality that it is possible to do it here. Let's start here, let's do it. And when we want to go to Europe or anywhere for relaxation, for vacation or anything, you can go and come back safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yeboah. But I just want to pull you back and by way of asking, you were telling us to be ambassadors to spread the news. Your office, I am sure you are, Mudin Sawaswa with other agencies. You are connected to other agencies, and how are you propagating the news? How are you spreading the news out there? It looks like, is it also part of the work of the information service? So they would also be broadcasting it. There is some kind of education, I don't think, is going on. What are you doing? If it's not, let's say, platforms, these small platforms, what is the nation doing to make sure that migration is done the right way?
All right, thank you very much. So for IOM Ghana, we are doing a lot. If you have heard of, there's Say No to Irregular Migration campaign, No Place Like Home. That was tracked by Kofi Kinata. Kofi Kinata is a goodwill ambassador, so he's using his track, some of the music to promote safe migration. So the No Place Like Home, for instance, was something that he developed for IOM Ghana. And then behind the scenes too, we supported him. So he's aware of propagating the safe migration campaign. Not only that, in 2020, at the height of COVID, we launched National Multimedia Awareness Rating Campaign, where we used different media to propagate the safe migration campaign using Facebook, Twitter, TV, radio, billboards, posters all over the country to do awareness raising. And we are not doing this alone. We work with other agencies. For instance, we're working with some CSOs to support the awareness raising. So in our little way, we work with journalists. We train journalists to propagate. We are working with community influencers. We have migration clubs set up in schools. We are working with some CSO, civil society organizations. And then as we speak, this week actually, today is Sunday. So on Wednesday, we have another awareness raising campaign that we are going to do in Sunyani. We are going to launch a campaign known as the Waka Well Ghana campaign. The Waka Well Ghana campaign is a platform where, through awareness raising, we'll be talking about safe migration campaigns, we are also giving the youth access to some of the opportunities in the country. So when you open the wakawell.info/Ghana Ghana website, you'll see that there are a lot of opportunities on it about how to access scholarships, how to do passports, how to access job opportunities, what are some of the links, and others. So we are not offering jobs there, but then we are saying that if you want to look for job opportunities, these are the websites, or these are the places that you have to look out for. So we are launching this campaign in Sunyani to also support our awareness raising activities that we are doing. Just as I said, we should be catalysts for this community awareness raising campaigns, because whilst we are trying our best, the connection men and women are also doing their best to win other migrants, the potential migrants. So yes, my dear, we are trying. I feel that we can do much better by also supporting this. Someone is asking, how can I reach you, Paul? Yes, so Mr. Paul, I work with the International Organization for Migration. Maybe if you want me to, you can send me a mail or something on this. This is my email address, Mr. Paul. Thank you very much.
Okay, so somebody might say I am not so good when it comes to IT, and so it will be difficult for me to go online. Do you have any front desk where these persons can walk in and be kind of advised on the decisions they want to take? So just walk
All right,
in.
so we work with Ghana Immigration Service. The Ghana Immigration Service, they have what is known as Migration Information Centers, MICs, across the country. So when you go to any of the migration information centers and you want to know about safe migration campaigns, or even when you get a visa, you want to validate, or any contract and you want to validate, you can go to the Ghana Immigration Service. I remember when we were in Sunyane, we were working with Ghana Immigration Service under one project. And just to chip in, someone came with a visa. And then the guy was so happy that he has a visa. And I was like, okay, let me go through and see. And then I said, so which visa is it? He says, oh, the connection man got a visa for me to go to the UK. I said, oh, okay, fine. But then, do you know that the nationality, are you a Ghanaian or what? He says, oh, but you see, I'm speaking to you, I'm a Ghanaian. I said, oh, okay, fine. But then the nationality, they've written South Africa. I said, oh, I wouldn't. Connection man, I saw Kojin was South Africa. So that is why it is written South Africa. No, Chief, they've written nationality. There's always nationality, and they've written South African. No, that's not it. So look at how the connection man was able to, just to outwit him and then confuse him with nationality and then where he got the visa from. And then even the visa, if you count the number of days, he said he was given 3 months visa, but if you count the number of days, it was more than 7 months. Meanwhile, they've written 3 months. And I told him, we were with Ghana Immigration Service at the MIC in Sunyane. So I told him, man, fortunately for you, you have known the right thing. If you take this to the airport, you buy a ticket, you are going to suffer for it. So be mindful of what you are going to do. So if you have anything, I mean, if you want to go to Dubai, or if you have a colleague or whoever that has gotten a company or an agency is offering him or her a visa to any of the Gulf states, he can go and validate it, because there are genuine agencies, migration agencies in Ghana. So he can go to the labor department or Ghana Immigration to validate whether the agency is genuine or not. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. So, Mr. Yeboah, Paul says we cannot see your email address, so we'll have to find a way of getting it for him. Ruth, I don't know if you would want to say anything and then wrap it up for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yeboah, for such an insightful knowledge on what migration is and everything in depth about it. Thank you so much. And we hope that you will be here again next time with a different topic. Thank you so much. Margaret, thank you so much.
That said, wonderful people, we are so grateful to have you on the show. God bless you so much. Okay, so Paul, the email address has been sent. And so this is how far time will allow us to go. Next week, we are coming back here and it's going to be another topic. Of course, not with Mr. Yeboah, but with somebody else. But just like Ruth said, Mr. Yeboah will be passing through someday again. And so we want you to take very good care of yourself, knowing that this initiative is by kind courtesy, Prophetess Rhoda Anna Asiedu Mafu, the General Overseer of Manifestation of Holiness. We want to remind you that with me, we meet here Mondays through to Fridays for our midnight draw. The time is 4 a.m. Ghana time. We also meet here Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays for our Zion Hour and Time with the Word of God, respectively. And so if you have time, you want to join us to do the things of God. I did this together with
Paulina.
Yes. Yes,
you didn't give us the chance. Patabadi wanted to say something, and then you did.
Then I think you probably came in late. We have given so many chances for people to put their submission across. Those who did it in the chat section did it, and so if you have anything you would want to put it across, I think that Pat normally would just unmute and put the submission across. So, Dr. Sasha, if you have anything to put across, we are not going yet. You can still do it.
Are you going to get me to do it? Or
yes, if you have any questions, why not? You can still put it across. We haven't ended the meeting yet. So if you have any questions,
okay. That's what we saw. Let me go and consult
right. Okay. So whilst he does the consultation, wonderful people, we are so happy to have you. Next week, we can wait to have you. It's still the CS show. We love you so much. Take very good care of yourselves and stay safe. Mr. Yeboah, we love you so much and we are so grateful to have you on the show. So we meet some other time. Is bye-bye.
Bye.
Game that you got over the line, you didn't leave your family or your friends down, and you've done it and enjoy it. You know, in a few weeks you got to get going again. That's the nature of the beast. How important is it, Micah, that they do enjoy these moments?
They have to. When we first won the Premier League, it was more distant. I couldn't believe it. You know, won the Premier League.